Hi there! This video is here to help you with constructing a line graph. A line graph displays continuous data like time or temperature, where the gaps between the data have a continuous value. This is an example of a line graph that shows the average temperature of a place over a year. You might notice that the months of the year are along the bottom and the temperature is up the side. We call these the axes of the line graph. The x-axis runs horizontally along the bottom and the y-axis runs vertically up the side. We are going to create a line graph to display the data in this table. It shows the distance a car travels over a 6-hour journey. If you want to, you can create the graph on squared paper at the same time as I do it on the screen. You can pause if you need more time for any of the steps. When we create our own line graph, we start by deciding how to label our axes. We will put the information in our first column, time, on the x-axis of the graph. Remember, this is the line that goes from left to right at the bottom of the graph. Our line will start at 0 and end at 6, so we need to decide how long it should be. If we use 1 square to represent 1 hour, our graph will be quite small. We have space here to use 2 squares to represent each hour, which will be 12 squares altogether. We draw the horizontal line with a ruler, leaving space underneath for our label. There is an arrow at the end of the line to show that although our data stops here, time is continuing. Now we can mark the scale of the axis. We need to make sure we are labelling the lines, not the spaces between the lines. We also need to make sure that the scale on our line is going up in equal steps. Our graph is going up in steps of 1, and 1 is represented by 2 squares. Finally, we label the axis. Now we can label the y-axis of our graph. Remember, this is the line that goes from the top to bottom at the side of the graph. This axis represents the distance the car travelled. We will need to start at 0 and go up to 500. If we use 1 square for each 100 kilometres, our graph will be too small. We could use 1 square to represent 50 kilometres. Just as we did before, we then need to mark the scale on the axis, making sure we keep the intervals, or gaps between the numbers, the same size. We are going up in steps of 50, so each 2 squares represent 100. Now we have created our axes, we can plot our data on the graph. This means we mark each piece of information in the correct place. At 0 hours, the car had travelled 0 kilometres. We will use a dot to mark the place on our graph where the vertical line representing 0 hours crosses the horizontal line representing 0 kilometres, like this. At 1 hour, the car had travelled 75 kilometres. There is no line to represent 75 kilometres, so we need to use the scale to work out where the point will go. 75 is halfway between 50 and 100, so we'll need to go halfway between the horizontal lines representing those numbers. You might find it useful to draw the 75 kilometre line onto the graph lightly with a pencil. Then you can mark the point where the 2 lines cross. We then continue to work through the table, plotting each point with a dot. Finally, we join up the points with straight lines. Now it's your turn. Here's a table containing data about the height of a sunflower over 8 weeks. Pause here and have a go at constructing your own line graph to display this data. If you need to, you could go back and watch the earlier example again. Remember to decide on the axes first and then plot the points. How did you get on? Let's have a look at what the graph should have looked like. You may have chosen a slightly different scale for your graph, and this is fine as long as your scale goes up in equal steps. I hope this has helped you to understand how to construct a line graph. If you need more maths help, we have lots of these videos on the Twinkl website, so make sure to check them out. Thank you for watching.